Hello, and welcome back to Homegrown Theater Camp. I'm your director, Mackenzie, and today in rehearsal we will find how our characters move using animal work, practice how to make discoveries on stage, and start blocking. Now this is the second day of rehearsal, so that means that we're going to get up on our feet. So you have to warm up. You can find our Homegrown Theater warm-up regimen here. Whilst you're warming up, I think I'll play a smidge of croquet. Now you're warmed up, and I'm better versed in highly sophisticated long games, so it sounds like we're both ready for a great rehearsal, and our first exercise, which involves animal work. Now actors take inspiration for their performances from all sorts of things, their friends, strangers they see on the street, or even performances of other actors in movies and plays that they've seen. Sometimes, actors even take inspiration from the wilderness itself. Nature. How mysterious and wonderful, with its rugged beauty. The majesty of wild creatures and beasts seems to be everywhere. Nature perplexes us with its radiant sunshine and sudden violent storms. And to think that all of this wonder and magnificence exists to be mined for theatrical value, it really makes you think how fortunate you are as the actor to look at all this and to be able to find a way to make it about you. After fully taking in the beauty of nature, you can begin the exercise by thinking about your character and their personality. Now, think of an animal that could fit that personality. So for instance, if you're playing Alice, they could be an owl, or the Cheshire Cat could be a cat. Yeah, if you're playing an animal, it's probably best to just stick with that animal. But if you're playing a person, you can think about this a little bit more metaphorically. Once you've decided your character's animal, start to move like that animal. Keep your movement as similar to how that animal actually moves as possible, fully committing to their movement. Move around your space as that animal. After moving for a while as that animal, examine each decision that you made to become that creature and make a mental note of them. If you've got scene partners, see how your animals would interact with each other. After having moved and fully explored the physicality of that animal, next we're going to move on to a second animal. But this time, think of one that isn't similar at all to your character or their personality. Once you have one in mind, start shifting your movement and becoming that creature, again as similarly and as closely as you can to them. Move as this second creature for a while, and take stock of the choices you made to become this creature. Now, you're going to begin moving like your character in the play. So whether your character is an animal or a person, slowly change your movement to transition into how you imagine that they would move. After walking for a bit as your character in the play, start trying out those choices you made for the first two animals. Try incorporating some of them into your movement, as subtly or as obviously as you like. If some of those choices don't work, that's okay. Just move on to the next one. You can decide what you want to keep with your character and what you don't, and also to what degree you'd like to do each of these movements. Once you've tried all your choices and found the ones that you'd like to keep, continue walking as your character and take stock. How quickly does your character walk? How do they move? How far apart do they keep their feet? Where does your character lead from? Think about all the ways that your character moves and make a note of them. After you've walked as your character and noted your final choices, the exercise is complete. By trying out moving like animals, whether you're an animal or a person, you try out different movement choices that you can use for your character. And by seeing all these choices, you can pick the ones that you like and use those for your final character movement. In Alice in Wonderland, Alice enters into this fantastic world where everything is new to them. So I thought that it would be important that you know how to show that your character is making discoveries on stage. Now, in most plays, everything is written down beforehand, and you as the actor rehearse it 100 times. But even though what's happening is not new to you, the actor, it is new to the characters, and you want to be able to show that when you're performing for the audience. There's a few ways to keep everything fresh and new when you're acting. One of them is to memorize your lines flat. So what that means is you're just memorizing the words. You're not memorizing a particular way to say those words. So, instead of memorizing the line like, "Drink me, perhaps I will. Once I see it is not labeled as poison, that is, otherwise it wouldn't be very smart." You would just memorize it like, "Drink me, perhaps I will. Once I see that it is not labeled as poison, that is, otherwise it wouldn't be very smart." It sounds kind of boring, but when you just memorize the words, you can take your character analysis and what's happening to your character in the scene and use that to inform your inflection and the delivery of the line. That way, it's fresh and new every single time you perform it. The next thing that I do to keep the lines fresh in my head and to show that my character is making discoveries is I imagine my character's thoughts as existing in little bubbles around their head. Now, the thoughts are there, but the character hasn't had them yet. And then, as the thought floats down and enters the character's head, the character can react genuinely right away in the moment and respond with whatever line that thought provokes. So, for instance, instead of something more prepared like, "Sir, you are preposterous and I must be going," the thought bubble will come down and then, "Sir, you are preposterous and I must be going." It's a little more sudden and genuine that way. It's a small thing, but performing like your character is making discoveries every second draws the audience in more, because if your character doesn't know what's going to happen next, the audience doesn't know what's going to happen next either. All this character movement and these discoveries are wonderful, but it doesn't work if the audience can't see you. For the audience to see you, you need to stay open. Now, staying open is facing the audience so that they sort of understand your expression and what your character's doing. So right now, I'm open, but if I turn like this, I'm closed. A good way to stay open is that when you're having a conversation with another character, so let's say there's another character right here, instead of facing them like this in profile, you could face them like this. And this is called a quarter turn. So you see how my shoulders are angled and my head can still look at them, but I'm still facing the audience in a way. So that's a quarter turn. Let's learn all the other positions that an actor can face when they're on the stage. Starting at full front. And then we can go a quarter left, full left, 3/4 left, full back, 3/4 right, full right, 1/4 right, and then we're back again at full front. Sometimes a character might need to be turned a particular way for a particular line or action, but generally a good rule is to always be facing the audience in some capacity. Now that you understand turns, you can move on and start advancing and blocking your play. What a wonderful rehearsal, but now I'm afraid I must leave you to it. I think I found my new calling. But don't worry, you've got plenty to do for your independent work. You're ready to find how your character moves using the animal exercise, to show your character making discoveries on stage, and to start blocking your play while remaining open to the audience. When you're blocking your play, make sure that you write down the final set of blocking that you like. so that you can stick to it for the rest of your rehearsals. You can refer back to this video and the camp outline for guidance in your independent work. Now, I'm off. I'll see you tomorrow when we find out what the characters of Wonderland sound like. Until then, good luck and learn your lines. Thank you for watching Homegrown Theater Camp. You can subscribe to join the cast and download the script from our website. Homegrown Theater Camp is produced by Blixt Locally Grown, with support of the Nebraska Arts Council, the Nebraska Cultural Endowment, the Pearle Francis Finigan Foundation, Union Bank and Trust, and generous individual donors.